Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Real Black Media, where we speak the truth and nothing but the truth. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Fair Use Disclaimer, where under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allows us fair use for criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. And with that, today's podcast is about a very interesting and informative book that's out. It's called American Founders: How Enslaved People Expanded American Ideals. This book is written and edited by Walter Russell Mead in the Washington Examiner dated June 7th of 2022. With that, African Founders combines an extraordinary depth of detail with a sweeping analysis of American social development to provide a succession of rich insights into North American history and culture. Foundational Black Americans, listen up. In the context of Black America, the historian of dynamism must note first that from an uncompromising beginning of slavery and oppression, Black America has emerged to become a cultural and political force not merely in the United States, but around the world. It would be difficult to find another group anywhere in the world on this planet of similar size to the, listen up, 46.9 million foundational Black Americans counted in the 2020 census that has as much impact on global politics and culture. Now, side note, when I stated the 46.9 million, I said foundational Black Americans. The text just reads Black Americans. I inserted foundational Black Americans. And the reason why I'm explaining this is because, as we know, there has been many migrations from the beginning, or for at least the past 50, 60 years or more, where there has been a migration of immigrants. So I can't say they're all foundational Black Americans, but 46.9 million were counted in the 2020 census. And I want to also state that it's interesting that 46.9 million were counted. Can you just imagine how many were not counted? I would probably venture to say another 10 to 15 million added to that 46.9 million. I've been stating in many different chat rooms and live feeds where I've stated that we were probably around roughly 40 to 50 million, and sure enough, I was correct. But I digress. Second, the historian must grasp the immense contributions that Black dynamism made to the dynamism of America as a whole. Black America does not just influence the world directly, but it also does so through the ways it has made the United States a more open, more flexible, more interesting, and more prosperous place. Hence the reason why so many people of all different ethnic backgrounds fight hard to come to our country that we foundational Black Americans, our ancestors, built up. But I digress. Thus, for Fisher, despite the fundamental injustice and appalling abuses of slavery, which are well documented in the book, and the ravages of racism, whose 19th century rise is a focus of his study, the story of Black America is a story of success. Looking at African as well as American and European sources, Fisher shows how the cultural folkways and technological skills Africans brought to America influenced American development, from ship construction in the Chesapeake to rice growing in South Carolina to managing livestock on the open range, up to 25% of Texas cowboys had African roots. Both enslaved and free black Americans helped to shape as well as participate in important features of American life. I think all immigrants need to hear this important message, but I digress. Enslaved Africans brought skills with them that they would use both to improve their own positions and to contribute to the development of the country. Side note, can you imagine how well Africa would be in this day had Europeans and the Portuguese never, and the Jews had never started the slave trade in the first place? That evil system of not being able to pull yourselves up by your own bootstraps, but needing black people to do it for you. But I digress. Fisher's principal concern is how distinct regional cultures took root across the European colonies in North America. Whether exploiting loopholes in the harsh Dutch laws of slavery to win half-free status in New Hampshire, using African skills in boat building and livestock management to win a privileged labor status and earn freedom in the Chesapeake and Carolina colonies, or building institution of communal solidarity despite opposition from slave owners in Louisiana, these early black Americans acted consistently to extend the range of freedom in ways Fisher argues that changed American realities in the past and that still influence American life today. I think a lot of immigrants should hear this very important message, but again, I digress. As Fisher reminds us, the black America that rose from the ashes of slavery is one of the most creative and dynamic cultures in the world. And it is an important accomplishment is to demonstrate how American black America is. Correction, family, what Fisher does in his work, and it is an important accomplishment, is to demonstrate how American black America is. It is an American in part because from the moment of their arrival on these shores, Africans struggled for freedom and dignity, an expression of the American spirit at its best. But there is an even more fundamental sense in which black America is American. As African founders demonstrates, from the earliest days of the colonial era, black Americans have been what they remain today, full co-creators of an American society that, whatever its flaws, has had an immense impact on the story of the whole human race. Now, I say to you, family, this is a very interesting article that I came across, and I wanted to share this with you just to show you how, well, for those black-looking people who have stated in the American public media sphere, they've stated that we were nothing more than 12%. I just heard some black-looking person spew that out of her mouth. And I've heard other people still spewing that whole 13%, as if black America, foundational black Americans, have not grown. You see, the dominant society, they are scared because we have multiplied. That's right, we don't die, we multiply. And that is a fact. So, this is the Real Black Media. I hope you learned something from this, but more importantly, like myself, I hope you head out and get this book. And lastly, I will show you, or you can at least see from the picture left in this video exactly who the author is. None other than a European who, once again, is writing our history. This is The Real Black Media, hoping you like and share this video,